Great. Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Great. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Dreamforce. If this is your first Dreamforce, if this is not your first Dreamforce, today we're going to be speaking about how the Salesforce and Google platforms are unlocking you as developers. So if that's the session you came to see, then you're in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first off, Safe Harbor. As you guys well know, let's make sure that you make any purchasing decisions based on what is currently available in market. Don't make any purchasing decisions on things that are not commercially available. Some of the things we will show you today are not commercially available, but they are coming soon. So today, with me, I have Robert Tinnett, Janal Katiara, and Nia Kotecha, and each of these participants are amazing from both Google and Salesforce. So what we're going to cover today in our agenda, it's going to be a pretty fast-paced agenda, so please pay attention. We have a lot of material to cover. We're going to cover the partnership. We're going to cover some new and exciting feature that's coming out very shortly. And we're actually going to be talking about how we're expanding our platform for developers. So those are people in your company that are helping unlock your business. And of course, if we have time, we're going to get to demos. So that being said, I'll kick things off to talk about the Salesforce and Google partnership. All right, great. So the big thing here that I want to mention is Google and Salesforce signed a partnership agreement last November. If you're not familiar, we've been building a lot of really cool integrations together across marketing, GCP, Lightning Platform, and of course across our SKUs. So if you don't know about that, I highly encourage you to check out some of our partnership integrations. Some of those partnership integrations include, but are not limited to, sorry, this clicker. Lightning for Gmail, Lightning Sync, Salesforce Files Connect, and of course Salesforce Marketing Cloud with GA360. So if you guys haven't used these, how many people in the audience have actually heard of these or used these? Okay, a fair number. I highly encourage you guys to use these integrations. We've seen a huge increase in productivity due to these integrations across our customer base. We know you guys are also probably Microsoft users, but we highly encourage you to start using some of the G Suite productivity tools. We've seen massive increases in sales productivity. So that being said, we're also coming out with a really new integration that I mentioned, Google Sheets for Salesforce. You guys have probably been using Google Sheets for a while. This is a really exciting feature that we're excited to tell you about. We know that Google Sheets is something that you live in, breathe in, you have business processes in, and we know that the Lightning Platform provides you a lot of capabilities that you need for your business processes. But what it sometimes doesn't have is that fungibility of a Google spreadsheet. So we're coming out with that. We're also coming out with that because, well, Google Sheets is awesome. So, and if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. I love it. We're a big fan of Google Sheets. We, Salesforce, are Google Sheets users, and we highly encourage you guys to use Google Sheets. We know that your business processes are in Google Sheets, and we know that sometimes we can't address those. So we're marrying our two platforms closer together so that whenever you need to do more sophisticated analysis, whenever you need to do data processing, whenever you need to have a business process in Google Sheets, you don't need to take your data out of Salesforce and have it be cumbersome and bring it back into Salesforce in a really challenging way. So what exactly does this integration do? You guys get to the money already, right? So I'll tell you. So what exactly does it do? Right now, this integration is publishing list views into Google Sheets directly with one click into Salesforce. Now that's really exciting for your end users, but you're here as developers. So let's really quickly talk about what exactly this feature is from a development perspective. So this feature is comprised of three different areas. Lightning Mass Quick Actions, which are on lists. These are coming soon. Janal's going to talk about those a little bit more. Tabs in the Salesforce Lightning experience, another really cool platform functionality that's available now, and of course, Sheets API and embeddability. So I'd love for you guys to focus on these areas as we start to show you this new feature. This is going to be really powerful for you as developers. So I'm going to just quickly walk you through a real-life example of Sarah, an operations manager. We've obfuscated her company name. Obviously, it's, we don't want to tell the real details, but she works for Honey Badger Inc., hypothetically. And Salesforce, the sales and operations manager, she likes to do a lot of things. She does planning for her team. She does quick calculations. Oftentimes, she's building charts and dashboards, looking at sales data, and then gathering insights and bringing that back to executive leadership. She does a lot of analysis and builds these structures so that the rest of her team can understand exactly what's happening with the sales process of the business. So she faces some interesting scenarios. Oftentimes she's asking questions to herself about her opportunities. Things like, how many opportunities were there per account executive? How many opportunities did we win? What was the total value of the won opportunities? And she can do that if she wants to build a lightning report in Salesforce. But what she can't do is really quickly build a chart in Google Sheets or any other spreadsheet tool and then come back to Salesforce and not have to do a lot of heavy lifting. This is going to change that. Sorry. So with this new feature, Sarah can click on a lightning action, and with that lightning action, you can see open in Google Sheets is the lightning action we've created. That lightning action will then push her into a Google Sheet in Salesforce, which is huge. If you guys have been long-standing Salesforce users and long-time G Suite users, you know the pain of getting data back and forth between a spreadsheet solution and Salesforce. So in one click, you're going to have all of your data in Google Sheets. That's huge. Also, we have soft tabs, which is a big thing for developers. You can use that for any other functionality you're building on the platform. And more importantly, Google Sheets has some really powerful functionality for your end users that they've exposed to us. The Explore functionality is something that can do automatic analysis on your Google Sheet. You don't have to do anything in Salesforce. Just click Open Explore. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to... Oh, and of course, if Sarah wants to find her file later, she has Files Connect. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Janal. And Janal's going to talk a little bit more about lightning actions and how developers like you guys and your community can use them, the Math Quick Action, with Salesforce Lightning Platform. So Janal, over to you.
Thank you, Sam. So how many of you heard about the lightning action? Basically, lightning action is a way to interact within the records of the Salesforce. So for example, if you are on the record-specific page and if you want to interact with those particular records, you can interact with the record-specific actions or the global actions, which is going to give you interactions from any of the Salesforce pages. So for this particular Google Sheet, we have worked with the Mass Quick Actions, which I'm going to talk about it later. So this lightning actions comes into two different flavors. One is the declarative one, and one is the programmatic one. So in the declarative one, what Salesforce admin can do is they can define what kind of interaction they want to with the record. So they can have create a record type or the create or update a record. They can define the layout of that particular UI. They can plug and play those fields. They can fill up some predefined field values, and that is how like the out of the box Salesforce UI will make that experience for the declarative lightning action. So similarly for programmatic, developers can choose any of this technology, for example, Lightning Components or Visualforce or Canvas. They can implement the behavior they want it to be, and the programmatic way, like they can define the interactions with those records. So for this Google Sheet, we are using Lightning Components. So one of the things we are working with this Mass Quick Action. So if you have noticed, Sam was explaining how you can export all the list view data to the Google spreadsheet. So basically, we are interacting with bulk of the records or the mass records. So Mass Quick Action is one of the way you can interact with many records at a single time. And Salesforce is having list views or the related list. On those list views or related lists, you can plug those particular Mass Quick Actions. So similarly, like any other lightning action, they also can come into both the modes, like declarative and the programmatic. So as of now, mass create records or update records, they both are available. However, the programmatic version of Mass Quick Action with the lightning component, which is still right now under the development, and we have used this one. Very soon it is going to be available for developers. So what it can unlock, like all the different kind of use cases. So for example, if you want to map out like all the addresses of your opportunities, you can do something like this. You can create a lightning component and it can fetch out all the maps and put it out on the Google Maps. Similarly, like you can also export entire list view data to some kind of a fancy PDF. So we are also talking about the tabs. So tabs is where you are going to see the entire Google Sheet within the Salesforce. So if you have noticed, like this Google spreadsheet is launched within the Salesforce, and we are launching it is in something called temporary tabs, which means you can jump back to opportunities or accounts at any given point of time, and your spreadsheet is not going to get loose. And you can also jump right back into that same spreadsheet. So you can work more efficiently being in a single particular browser tab. And how are we developing this? So there is something called Lightning Navigation API. If you look at it, like this Lightning Navigation API can gives you control over your component, how you can create your components based on the URL parts. And this particular Lightning Navigation API can enable those URL parameters available to your component. You can pass information using URL to those components. And it can also make your component future-proof so that if Salesforce changes the URL format, your component is not going to get broken. So please check it out. Like you can, using this Lightning Navigation API, you can do a lot of the navigation within the Salesforce. And with this, I'm going to hand out to Robbie, who is going to talk more about the spreadsheet.
Awesome. Thanks, Chanel. So we've talked a lot about how we're helping you do your analysis, more analysis, directly within Salesforce. And this is huge when you need an answer fast. Functionality like Explore within Google Sheets lets you get insights into your Salesforce data with just one click. But sometimes you need to access your Salesforce data outside of Salesforce. And to support this use case, in Sheets, we're introducing the ability to directly connect to external data sources. Without leaving the Sheets interface, you can pull data from places like Salesforce and Google BigQuery. And once this data has been pulled into Sheets, you can take advantage of the full suite of Sheets functionality. Things like real-time collaboration, allowing your entire team to simultaneously edit the same canonical version of a document stored in the cloud. Full version history means that no matter how many collaborators you have, you never miss an edit. And when we've seen organizations adopt this, organizations that have tried this zero latency real-time collaboration, we've seen them save an average of 10 minutes per sheet created. So 10 minutes is great savings, but how can we save even more time? Well, we can use app scripts. AppScript is a developer environment within Sheets that allows you to programmatically access both your Salesforce data and take advantage of the advanced analytical capabilities of Google Sheets. Things like pivot tables and charts. AppScripts can be written directly in JavaScript with special objects and other extensions to let you control G Suite. Or app scripts can be generated through Sheets' macro recorder. What the macro recorder lets you do is take your real actions in the product, your actual workflow, and generate app script instantly. Regardless of how you generate this app script, once it's been created, you can then run it to automate tasks and analysis of your Salesforce data. Or you can set it to run later through scheduling, triggers, or external calls. Together, macros and app scripts are just one of the ways we're making it easier for you to access your Salesforce data, and once you've accessed it, to be able to do complex analyses. So we've given you the marketing pitch. So now I'm going to pass it to Neha, who will walk through an actual demo of how the Sheets within Salesforce experience will actually work.
Hello. Yes. OK. Thank you, Rob, for the introduction. So now I'm going to quickly show an exciting demo of this integration that we've built in Salesforce. So we can start the video. Yes. OK, so this is Google Sheets inside Salesforce. This is the home page, as you guys know. So we've popped up a banner on the top that is intended basically to let the users know that they can connect their Google account inside Salesforce. Thank you, guys. Okay, so once the user clicks on this banner login button, we take them to the user settings page that we've created. This user settings page is to connect to Google. The user clicks the login, and then we take them to the Google login page. Basically, this initiates the OAuth flow. So Salesforce has this authentication framework that we've used, and it's already available on the platform. We take the user to the login page. Once the user logs in with the account that he or she wants to connect it in Salesforce, we bring the user back. We redirect them back to the user settings page. Now what happens with this is the access token and refresh token that the Google API returns once you authenticate is saved in the auth provider object, which is done by the authentication framework, which I mentioned to you guys. So we show it saying, yes, successfully you've signed in and connected your Google account in Salesforce. Now let's say I go to the opportunities tab, any standard object, opportunity, I go to a custom list view that I've created. And what you guys see on the right side of the screen of this custom list view is the button which says open in Sheets. So this is the Mask Quick Action button, which Janal was mentioning earlier. So when you click the Mask Quick Action button, what we're doing here is popping up a modal, and this loads the Lightning component in it. Now this Lightning component is using all the SLDS styles and icons that Salesforce supports. So what happened in the background when user clicked the open button inside the Lightning component is we are creating a spreadsheet because we have the tokens to access all the Google APIs with the necessary scopes that we passed when we did the OAuth flow. Once we create a spreadsheet, we populate all the data that was in my list view inside the spreadsheet. And also very interesting thing is we made sure to map the metadata that was inside Salesforce to the metadata in Google Sheets and made sure that the formatting and the validation stays. So say if you edit the field that says amount, and if you edit it, it will still be of the type currency because that was the type in Salesforce. So we're retaining that as well. So this was we using all the powerful things that Salesforce platform already has to build something really powerful for you guys to use, which is coming very soon. So that was about the demo. I will now hand it over to Rob again.
Cool. Oh, awesome. Thank you. So we've talked a little bit about, or we've actually demonstrated how you can leverage the power of Sheets within Salesforce. Now we're going to flip that around and show you how you can actually interact. You can pull and interact with your Salesforce data within Sheets. And to make this a little real, we're going to walk through a little scenario. Imagine you have a set of customer opportunities within Salesforce, and you have billing information within BigQuery. And we're going to actually take those. Not yet, sorry. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to take those, combine them within Sheets, and do some quick analysis with AppScript. So we can definitely export this information from Salesforce, but to vary it up a little bit, we're going to start with a fresh workbook. So the first thing that we need to do is pull in our data, starting with Salesforce. Using our built-in Salesforce data connector, we can connect to our Salesforce instance and create a query where we're pulling our set of customer opportunities and looking at the aggregate amount by customer. All this can be done directly within Sheets, the query, and then pulling the information into a new sheet within our Sheets workbook. Next, we have to pull in our data from BigQuery. And again, we're using a native data connector. We're connecting to our BigQuery instance and pulling the set of customers and aggregate payments for each customers. Again, this information is pulled directly into Sheets. Next, we have to join these two data sets. Now, because this is probably something we'll do a lot, let's create a macro to do this process. So we're going to leverage the macro recorder built into Sheets. So within the Tools menu, we go to Macros, Record Macro, and then we can just run through our workflow. And each step, Sheets is automatically converting that underlying action into AppScript. So here you can see that we're doing a VLOOKUP, and AppScript is saying set formula, and it's converted that action into AppScript. We can then name our script and save it for immediate or future use. So let's take a look at what the app script we generated looked like. So this was a relatively simple example. Oops, sorry. So this was a relatively simple example. And so we're going to actually look at a slightly more complex script that we've generated. If you look at this, and if you're familiar with JavaScript, this should all look pretty familiar. We have about 10 lines formatting our table. We're then pulling in both our opportunities and payments data, and then comparing them. We're then applying some conditional formatting to allow us to identify which are the opportunities where the payment lags significantly behind the opportunities. So let's run this.
Robbie, we're gonna have to speed through we're gonna have to wrap up. We ran out of time. So, do you want to summarize?
Sure. Yes. So very quickly, we can see the script run. We can see that the action has been generated. Our data sets have been compared. And because this is a table within Sheets, we still have access to all Sheets functionality. Things like Explore for machine intelligence, as well as real-time collaboration. And this together allows us to better access and analyze our Salesforce data.
Great, thanks. Robbie, this was a great presentation. Thank you for showing the power of Google Sheets. I'm going to quickly jump into some takeaways for you guys. This presentation is going to be available to all attendees. Just check it out online. I just want to make sure that you guys have the key takeaways. The key takeaways here are that there are some Lightning components that you can use. Some are coming soon. Some are available right now. So go ahead and start using those APIs. We'd also like to make sure that you start using Google Sheets. Google Sheets is a powerful framework. That being said, Salesforce and Google Sheets platforms both together are very powerful. So please go ahead and start using them. Start trying them if you haven't already tried it. There's a free trial right now for a year if you sign up. And let's go ahead and get your feedback. So if you hashtag Google and Salesforce, we'll get that feedback from you. We have a presentation on Friday, so check that out this Friday from 10:30 to 10:50. And that's about everything we've got. So if you have any questions, we're going to be here on the side. If not, thank you so much for attending.